Welcome to my tutorial on a 12-inch white willow tree. Just want to say thank you to those who requested this tutorial. I really appreciate all of the comments and requests. I hope you enjoy making this tree as much as I did. To start, usually how I start when making this tree, or making any tree of life really, is I start with the hanger, which seems kind of odd, I know, but for me, I want that center balance. I want to know where the center is, and it helps in the long run when I'm doing all of the knots on the top and getting ready to pull it all together. It helps me balance the top of the tree to know where the middle of it is if I start out having the hanger on there and knowing where the center is. So obviously that's a lark's head knot. You're going to take a 12-inch piece, or for me obviously, I'm generous with my measurements, and that's probably more along the lines of a 14 to 18-inch piece. But that's going to be a lark's head knot. And for those who do not know what a lark's head knot is, you take a folded piece of cord like this, and you come up behind and you go over with it, pull it down, take the ends and pull them through so that your knot comes tight up against it, just like this. Take the ends. This is not a part of the lark's head, obviously. This is just so that you can hang it, and you can make it shorter, longer, however you want, because when you flip it over, that's your hanger, and that's also your midpoint. So now that that's done, out of the way, I now know where my midpoint is. So now we start with the actual top of the tree, which is going to turn into the bottom eventually, the trunk eventually, but also the top, the body of it. Here's the first piece. We're going to use a lark's head knot on that as well. Again, fold it in half. You're going to take the middle part of it, you're going to come up over the back, over, and this time, instead of going with the ends, because this is so long, this being a 12-foot piece, you're just going to go, take your finger, loop through like that, and just pull it through. It's just much quicker that way. For anybody asking what this is, it's just so that it's not flopping around. It's just a piece to anchor it to the bottom of this hanger, just in case anybody was curious. Next one. I assume for most of you, if you're doing a tree like this, you know how to do a lark's head knot, but for those who do not, I'm going to do it one more time very slowly, and then we'll move on. Over the back and around. Take your fingers and pull through the loop. See? There's this. Take your fingers, pull through the loop. So just tighten it up, and there you go. Now you just continue on, and instead of having to count how many on each side, just do one of each until it's done. At that point, this is what I use these for, so that they don't slip, because they do like to slide down. And this is where I'm going to leave you until you guys are done putting your 12-foot pieces in. Welcome back. We've got all of our cords up here now, all of our 12-foot cords, and we are ready to start making the body of the tree and the branches, which the branches are what the 8-inch cords that the branches of the willow tree are going to attach to. Now, if this were another kind of tree that we would be making like individual leaves on, those would also be the branches that we would use to put individual leaves onto, and that we would be attaching individual branches onto, but that is a different type of tree for a different type of tutorial. However, for this one, we are going to count to the 11th cord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is the 11th cord. And we can put this down here for now. So, or really, to get it out of the way, these out of the way, we can put these over here, and that will give us some room to show what we're doing here. We're going to make double half hitch knots, and we're going to take it, this is going to be our filler cord, and we're going to use this as our first working cord, and we're going to take it and kind of make kind of a curved thing like that. So filler cord and our working cord. You take your working cord and you're going to just hold on to the filler cord, and you're going to just wrap it around and put it through the right side. Pull it through. So as you can see, it went under the filler cord and into the hole, and now you're just going to take it and tighten it up all the way to the top, and then now you're on the right side of the filler cord. Your working cord's on the right side of the filler cord. You're going to take it, and this time you're going to go over to the left, and you're going to take it and you're going to push it through the middle and pull through, and just tighten up again. Now I know that one was probably pretty hard to see, but we'll do it again. So once again, take this cord, your working cord, and you're going to go underneath, over, and through. Pull it through, tighten it up. This one is going to go, since it's on the right side, sometimes it helps to take your finger and just hold it here. It's going to go over the filler cord. Your working cord is going to go over the filler cord to the left side of it, and then push through. If you can see, now you've got these two cords here. You're going to take it and just push it through those two. Just like that. And go one more time. Your filler cord and your working cord, you're going to go underneath and down and through the middle. And then just pull it up tight. And as we're going, you can see I'm going farther away from your bamboo ring. Just like that. Now we can let that go. And we're going to do the exact opposite over here. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Pull these over here, get them out of the way. And once again, we're going to just do like that. We're going to do the same thing as we did over here, but it's going to, the double half hitch knot is going to go the exact opposite as it was before. So your working cord is still going to go underneath the filler cord. So this is your filler cord, this is your working cord. It's still going to go underneath and it's still going to go in that hole. It's just going to go opposite. So instead of going this way, it's going to go this way. So here's your filler cord, your working cord. It's underneath and it's going to come up and through this hole. Pull it through and pull it up tight. Okay, the next one we're going to do is go to the 17th. So this is number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did I miscount that? Okay, now we're at our 17th. We go to the 17th next. And I know it doesn't look like a lot, but what we're going to do here is we're going to take number 17 and we're going to take it and connect it to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Twelve, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We're just going to do the exact opposite here. Do not worry about any of the gaps. Those will get filled in. And this is the last one. Okay, next we're going to go 10 cords over. So you should only have a few left up here. So we're going to go 10 cords over. And once again, we're going to go this way. But instead of doing a curve, we're just going to go kind of down like this, because eventually we're going to try to connect these. We just want to go kind of down a little bit. We're not going to go too far, just down a little bit. Now, this is how I like to bring these things together. We're going to take the last single pieces here, and we're going to do a double half hitch knot with them together. Just like that. Leave them right there in the middle. And take these pieces, from the inside out. And just add them to each side. Once you are done with the loose pieces that are left up here, start in on what's left in here. That will start bringing together the actual tree. That will help give anchor points. And I wouldn't go to the next one, I would go a few over. That way it's not so tight. If you go to this next one over, it's gonna bunch it up real bad. So I would count 1, 2, 3, use the third one over of this here, and then use that one. Now we can start bringing some of these together to give it some, to show you kind of what it's going to look like underneath all of that. This is what the tree, for the most part, is going to look like underneath all of that. So space all of this out. Take some time, space it all out. You may have to take it and tighten some of this, which is just fine. But tighten all of it out. Like I said at the beginning, use this to balance either side, and then take your ends to each branch and you're going to set those aside. So each branch that you did, you're going to take the end and set them aside. Those are not going to go in the trunk of the tree. Those are going to stay out. In fact, there's quite a bit of this tree that is not going to go in the trunk of the tree. If we put all of this in there, that would be a very thick trunk. We are only actually going to keep a small portion, of what's going to feel like anyway, a very small portion of what's here. Okay, so here's the back, and as you can probably see, I've already cut off the ends of the branches in the front. You leave 8 to 10 inches, so you have more than enough to work with up front. You have more than what you need here. You only need 30 to 36 of these to go into the trunk. Anything more than that, and you're going to be cutting them out because you're going to have way too much for the roots. For roots, ideally you only want about 5 roots to, go off to the sides. You're only going to want about 30 of these cords to end up in the trunk. So that means all the rest of this has got to be cut, as otherwise it's going to be way too thick of a trunk. So when you go to bring it together and find where your center is, after spacing everything out like we talked about earlier, your tree is going to look pretty much like that. Once you have counted the amount of cords that you need, which is, again, like we talked about, you should have about 30. Gather them the way you think it looks the nicest, and then you're going to take your 14-foot cord and fold it in half. You're going to take it and you're going to tie it where you think it's going to look the nicest. Usually higher up, where it's about not quite the same height as these two, just underneath it would be great. And then just a normal knot at first is perfectly fine. And I don't know if you noticed what I did there. All I did was take a section of this and wrap it around so that I had something to hold it onto, so it didn't just untie and let go. So once you have your first knot, tie it, and then you're going to turn it back around to the front. All those extra cords that are not in there, they're all going to get cut. And no worries on all this extra cord, that will all get used eventually for your leaves. So that's why I did not tell you how many to cut, just how long to cut it, because you're going to have all of this to use for your leaves for later. Anybody who's not familiar with a spiral knot, it is just the first half of a square knot. You're just going to act like you're making a square knot, but you're not going to do the second half of it. So you're going to pull it across like this, take the other one across and back through here, pull through, just like that. And you're just going to keep doing that instead of the second half of what would make that a square knot. This is called a spiral knot. And if you've never done one of these before, give it a couple of inches and you'll see why. Okay, so the trunk, we're only going to take down about 3 inches because obviously it's going to split up into several pieces and we're going to want room for that to happen. But now that we have that done, make sure that you spiral that so you get as much spiral as possible. It looks really pretty when that happens. And now you have all your pieces here that you can start your roots on. Now each root starts with 6 pieces. So here's the 2 pieces that is left from here, and you can incorporate that in your root system. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're going to incorporate that one in there. So we're going to drop that one and use that. And we're going to do the same thing with this as we did with here. Make sure that you do not use the piece that came off the trunk, as a part of the pieces that you're going to use for your spiral knot. It's not going to be as long as the other pieces and you're going to end up with a very short piece. This is going to end up being in the middle. Make sure that that gets put in the middle, and your 2 outside pieces are going to end up being your outside pieces that make that spiral. Okay, once you get to about 3 inches or so, you're going to stop, because the rest of this you're going to split off and do smaller pieces of root. These ends here, once again, you're not going to want to use those as the ends as much because they're going to end up being shorter. So you're going to take these and split them up. This is going to end up being your center. Now here's where we're going to have a little bit of trouble, because that one piece was still in there. So we're just going to see which one is the longest. Looks like they're about the same. So it's really not going to make much difference. So just You choose one. See which one's the longest. Okay, that one is definitely the shortest. So we're definitely going to put this one in the middle and use these as your longer ones. Now, usually for a square knot or whatever, you would have at least 2 pieces in the middle. It does not matter whether it's 1, 2, 3 pieces in the middle. You can still make your twisty knot or a square knot. So make sure this is as twisted as you want it to be and start your square knot. Okay, so we have finished our first thing of roots. What you're going to do here is tuck that up there. Take your middle piece in your knot and let's take 1 or 2 out of there first. It's a little long. We're going to take the middle piece here and we're going to wrap it around the bamboo ring and then tighten it. Then we're going to take these 2 pieces here and you're going to make a square knot. Okay, so at this point you should have finished your roots and attach them all to the base of your ring, and where you attach them is up to you. I like to kind of interlock them, so this is the first one I did, the second one so that you can balance where your trunk is in the middle. All the others, you can, you know, just shift them wherever you want. You've got some that are overlapping. Most of them are tied in the front. I have a couple that are tied in the back, just so it gives some depth. But it is completely up to you and how you want your tree to look and how you want your roots to look. Now from here, we are going to forget about our roots. In fact, we're going to take them and we are just going to tie them up. Now we're going to work on this. We're going to start at the bottom and make our way to the top. Here's all of what we had left of what didn't make it in to your trunk, and you can leave them. If you want to shorten them, you can. I don't, just because you want as much hanging as possible, so the more you have hanging and the more you have to cut, the less oops you have to make. We're going to start with adding our leaves. but don't start on just one cord. I usually start with 2. This is going to end up being quite a bit of weight, and it's always good to have as much as possible. And it's just a lark's head knot. Want to space it out. Okay, once you have that lower thing done, now we can come across here and undo these. It makes combing and brushing them out so much easier. I know it's an extra step, but it is much easier. And some people actually like this look more than they do the brushed out Willow look. If you find you do like this look rather than the brushed out look, I would wait until the end to do this. So now we're going to talk about what to do if you find yourself trying to attach your leaves and coming up with gaps that you don't know what to do with, that you need areas to fill in. So, for example, some of this is going to get filled in at the end with all of the leaves. You're not going to notice most of these gaps. Some of this is going to get filled in by things like this. But what to do if, like something like this, in the end, you're not going to notice it. Not something as small as this, because, you know, you can put them all together, but say this was bigger and you really needed to fill that space in. What would you do for that? Well, first off, take a piece of cord. You would come across here, somewhere in the middle of it, pull apart and try to find a space in the middle of it, in the middle of all these little knots, these little double half hitch knots, to put a lark's head knot. Nothing has to be pretty. Remember, this is all getting covered. And you're going to hide it. You're going to wrap this around the back of your trunk, okay? And you're going to come back around the front, grab a few of your branches that are a part of your trunk that you're going to secure it behind, okay? And then we're going to bring it up here. I'll secure this out of the way so you don't have to worry about it getting in the way, so you can see what I'm doing here. You're not going to take it right back to the lark's head knot. You're going to find somewhere else to go with it. So let's take it here, and we're going to go right behind here, and we're going to wrap it around here. So now you've got it wrapped around, and you're going to take these two pieces that's left, and you're just going to make a square knot. Super simple, super easy little square knot. left, the square knot, the little pieces that hang out. They just get cut off and they get turned in to branches. Okay, welcome back. At this point we should have all of our leaves done, leaves and branches done, and hopefully brushed out. If you have not gotten them brushed out, it is a layer by layer thing, so tend to start at the bottom and just work your way up. And it is a time-consuming process, but as you can see, the end result after it's all brushed out is really pretty. Obviously it's not done. We've not layered it and completely finished cutting. It's not the, finished product, and it won't be for a little bit. I don't usually layer it and finish the leaves until after I get done with all of this. We saw at the beginning of how long and how many, and if it's not enough for you, you want more to fill in here, or you want them longer, that's, this is completely up to you, especially those of you who are more advanced. That's completely up to your discretion, but that's just a general idea of how many it typically takes to fill that in. Alright, keep going with this and I will catch up with you at the end. Okay, at this point we're going to start with our designs in the roots. For those of you who are more advanced, you can do whatever designs you want to do. For those who want to follow what I have done before, or if you just want to follow what I had done before, this is how I did that. So you're going to want to start with the first root. you're gonna want to use these cords. Find those cords that come off of that root and start with the one all the way to the right. Make sure that your roots that are connected are fastened tightly and they are pushed all the way down to the bottom of your reed. That way it meets, your knots meet at the bottom. Otherwise it's not going to look right. So this is going to be your filler cord. You're going to come back here, take one of these back here that's the closest to this one, and this is going to be your working cord. And then you're just going to make your first double half hitch knot. Just like that. The design I did before was just some triangles like this, and then I met them in the middle. If you want to do that, you can do that. That's what I'm going to be showing here in this tutorial, or you can do whatever you want. But again, here's your filler cord. You're going to find the next cord that was right next to the other working cord, and you're just going to follow along. And you're going to make a gradual V pattern. with this one, we're going to do something a little bit different. I call this waffling, where you'll see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take the cords that I use as the working cords, and I'm going to kind of zigzag them across each other to make a pattern as I fill it in. And I'll show you that as I go on. Make sure you keep your filler cord in the same spot. If you need to, do that, because you want these to stay as straight as possible. Because you'll see, you're going to want space here for the cords to tie knots onto there. Now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to get your cords from here, but you're going to take these and you're going to waffle them through. Sometimes this helps, or you can use your fingers. So what you're doing is up one under another, up one under another, up one under another, and you're going to do that for every cord. But you're going to do, obviously you're going to do opposite. Every cord you do is going to be opposite. So the first one I did went under the first one the first time. This time, I'm going to take the cord and we are going to go over down. We're going to go over that first cord this time. So you can kind of see what's going on here now. one nice thing about freestyle macrame is being able to do whatever you think looks good. Obviously this doesn't look identical to the one that I did, and that's because I freestyled that one. I don't remember exactly what I did with that one because I don't have that one in front of me. So I can freestyle and do what I want with the next one, just like you can, and make whatever you want to go in your designs for your roots. I have made leaves in the roots, I've made designs like this, whatever you think looks good. Now we've finished our designs in the roots, and the next thing is our tassels. As you can see, I've finished one. This is the big one that goes in the middle, and I choose to use beads instead of wrapping cord around. Just this time I think it looks nicer to use a bead rather than using cord. I prefer that look on this one than the other one, but you're going to need beads that have a very large center bore, where these do not. These are the ones I chose, but I had to drill them. I had to drill the middles out to make them larger. You can do that, or if you have ones already large enough that you want to use sets, whatever beads you want to use, it's up to you. Or if you don't want to use beads at all and you want to wrap cord, that's great too. So we're going to work on our tassels. So I have about 12 cords that are about 10 to 12 inches long, and I have pulled all of them apart. The cord that I use was 4 cords twisted into one. Some cord is 3. The cord I used was 4. I've got it all twisted apart. We are going to set back 2 of these and put them over here so that we can keep them out of the way, and then these cords we're going to keep to use for the middle. That's going to end up being this part. So here's our bead. We're going to grab some of our cord and just kind of guesstimate on how much will go in the bead. You can add to it, take from it. It's just make sure you have a tight fit. That way the bead doesn't fall, and it just, it looks good that way. So you're going to take your single, go into the middle, turn it over like that. If you want to use your beater, you can. to go through the beads. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't need to use the beater. Sometimes it works without it. See if that's, nope, I have too much in there. So we're going to take some out. There we go. And see if that works any better. Nope, that's still just a little too much. Okay, that went in. That went in pretty decent. Not quite as snug as I like it, so maybe add one to it. Like I said, it's kind of a guessing game. We'll see how it goes. You just want it to be snug. Oh, there we go. That's snug. All right, now you take your brush or comb or whatever you have that brushes that out. Give it a good brush. And clip all of the uneven stuff at the bottom. We will trim a little bit more once we get it on the tree, but until then we're just getting the ends off. All right. Do our last one here. Oh, perfect. There we go. Just like that. Oh, we have some that's a little uneven, so fix that. And now brush it out. Cut the uneven off. Now we have our 3 tassels to add to our roots. Now I'm going to show you how to add your tassels to the roots of your tree. So this is the largest one, and we're going to add it to the middle right here. So you're going to take these parts right here, these little strings. You'll find your middle knot here. And you're going to take your strings and go right above that middle knot. You're going to want to grab those strings from the back. Make sure you have put hold of them from the back, and then you're going to bring them around front. Pull your tassel so the top of the tassel is right at the bottom of that knot. So if you can see, there's no gap. You're going to take these and crisscross them around, just like that. Turn the tree around. And you're just going to tie a knot, just like that. When you're done tying the knot, you just clip them. And you can see that your tassel is right at the base of that knot. Okay, before we clip it off, sometimes if you want to keep them a little bit more secure rather than just that knot, you can take your beater and go through the nearest loop that you can find, pull it through, or find the nearest cord and knot it against that as well. Just like that. It's another way to secure your tassel. You can also find the nearest loop and then only pull one of your loose cords through and then knot it that way as well. Then it's secure against that one loop. Just another way to doubly secure your tassels. Okay, we finished our tassels, and at this point we're going to go ahead and cut our leaves. So we're going to grab down here and bring it all the way up to the point where your tree is hanging level, where your leaves are hanging level. Go ahead, brush them out so that they're all hanging down level, so that when you cut them, they're all going to look layered once you bring it back upright. Remember to not go too short, because you can always take away. You cannot add to. You can always add, other cord, but it's a huge pain in the butt. And it's better to do it the first time. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut. And leave about 3 inches. Pull it back down so we can see kind of where we're at. And as you can see, now we are layered. Still a little long, so now we know we need to go a little bit shorter, and we need to go a little shorter up here too. We need to layer up here, so you just take your comb and just every so often you're going to cut some shorter than others, so it doesn't look like you have one line all the way straight across. You're going to just every so often make a cut, but they're not all going to be the same length. We're just going to continue layering, and just keep layering to however you think looks good. Notice I'm using a lot of diagonal cuts, not a lot of straight cuts. That helps with the look of the layering rather than just having a bunch of straight cuts. Okay, at this point you should be done with your leaves, and you can take one of these, just fluff it up, and there you go, there's your willow leaves. You should also have your tassels cut to whatever lengths that you want, and at this point the only thing left is to cut your roots. Now Whether you want it straight or if you want it at angles, that's up to you. That's completely up to you what you want to do. I like to do angles. I find my center, go down, and mark where my center is. Take something like a ruler or something else that's going to be nice and straight. Go to my desired length and cut from there. At this point, you're going to need some really sharp scissors. And you're just going into the other side and try to match your angle. And there's your roots. You're all done. There's your willow tree.